Hello everyone, my name is Rich Walton. You are watching a video in my TESOL Rich English channel on YouTube. Thanks for coming in. This video is the first of a mini-series in talking about describing trends in business graphs and charts. Graphs are fantastic for analyzing and discussing and describing what's happening in your company or in your business life, and we use them all the time. They're such a fantastic visual aid. Lots of different types of analysis, and I'm going to be in this short mini-series introducing some alternative phrases and sentences which you can use in your presentations. Now, some of these you will know, but others will help you to make your presentations more interesting when you are in a meeting doing a classic PowerPoint presentation using these fantastic graphs and tables and charts. I will be producing part 2 and 3 fairly quickly after this one, so please subscribe to the channel and you will be notified when they are published. Enjoy the video. It's going to be graphics and my voice, but I will appear to say hello every now and again. So enjoy the video. Okay, the first graph is a classic bar chart or bar graph. Both terms are used. It's a great visual aid people use to see the trend using two sets of data, or data as they say in America. Simple chart. Horizontal axis, here we've got the months from January to April of a t-shirt manufacturer, and the vertical axis shown here from 25 to 100, which is expressing thousands of units sold. There's the unit factor, and this is a great chart for describing an increase or a decrease in units sold or sales value. So I'm going to be describing various things about this chart using different verbs to describe using noun forms and also an important collocation of prepositions. First, let's have a look at the sales in the months of January. There it is outlined, and also February when sales decreased. I've shown here also in green the amount of which the sales did decrease. It's not usually indicated in a chart, but I've included it to demonstrate one of the ways of describing this situation. Right, here are the verbs. Now here are just some of verbs used to describe a decreasing trend in a chart like this. Decrease, fall, drop, reduce, decline. And here are 5 prepositions which we use in English when describing the chart. Very important. It's very important to understand the collocation of these. I will explain these now. From, to, by, at, and of. So here are 3 examples using 3 of these verbs. The first one is the verb to fall. Remember to conjugate it in the past tense. In this case it's fell. From January to February, sales fell from 50,000 to 30,000 units. Now do notice the prepositions from and to in this sentence. They are important. Right, I'm going to read the next 2. In February, sales declined to 30,000 units. And the third one, from January to February, unit sales reduced by 20,000. So in the second example, the verb changes to decline. Sales declined to 30,000. Preposition remains to. But in the third example, we are describing the difference between January and February, and therefore the preposition is changed to by. Unit sales reduced by the difference, which in this case is 20,000. So if you use the wrong preposition here and say unit sales reduced to 20,000, you are actually describing the wrong situation, you will cause confusion, all because of a little English preposition, so you need to be careful with these prepositions. Now, many English verbs have a noun form, and in this particular description, you can use the noun forms of the verbs we used in the previous slide. And here are the examples. From January to February, there was a fall in sales from 50,000 to 30,000 units. In February, there was a decline in sales to 30,000 units. And the third one, spot the difference here in the preposition. From January to February, there was a reduction in unit sales of 20,000. Now, just to make things more exciting, in this particular sentence, we use the preposition of, a reduction of an amount. Prepositions in English are wonderful, but they are very, very irregular. Now let's describe an upward trend, that is an increase in the units sold, February and March. As you can see here, there was an increase from 30 to 60,000. Here are some verbs which we use, including to increase, rise, double, improve and grow, and the prepositions are the same as when we are describing a decrease. Here are 4 sentences to describe this trend from February to March. First one, from February to March, sales rose from 30,000 to 60,000 units. That's the verb to rise in the past tense. Second one, in March, sales improved sharply to reach a total of 60,000 units. Notice the adverb sharply. I'll explain that afterwards. Third one here, from February to March, unit sales doubled to 60,000. Doubled means it's exactly twice the number. And the fourth, in March, unit sales grew by 30,000 to 60,000. So, grew, it's the irregular past tense of to grow, and the preposition sales grew by 30,000. 30,000 is the difference between the two numbers, from 30 to 60. Just look back at the second example here. Sales improved sharply. Now, sharply is one of a number of adverbs which we use very commonly in describing these trends in this type of graph. In this context, sharply means a significant movement. When we're talking about an upward movement or a downward movement, we can use many different adverbs, and I will explain more of these in part 2 of this video. As before, we can use the noun forms of the verbs which you have seen before, and here's an example. You can see a sharp rise in March from 30,000 to 60,000 units. Rise is the noun form. Number 2 here, in March there was a big improvement in sales to reach 60,000 units. And one more here, in March there was a significant increase of 30,000 units, doubling total sales from the previous month to 60,000. So which one would you use if you were describing the chart? Personally, I would use the third one, because it sounds more impressive. It's the same description, but I've added a significant increase of 30,000 units, doubling total sales. This type of use of language can help you in your presentation to make the figures sound good. It can also help to make the presentation sound more interesting to the people listening. Here's the final slide in this part 1 of the video, a further increase in the month of April. And here's a nice sentence to describe this. There was additional growth in April and sales rose by an additional 35,000 units to reach a peak at 95,000. Make a note of the English here. Growth is the noun form of the verb to grow, Rose, obviously the past tense. The preposition is by because it's the difference between the two figures. And to reach a peak, or a peak, means it's the maximum value in a given period, like the peak of a mountain before it starts falling again. Right then, that was part one. I hope you found it interesting. I hope it wasn't too long. More will be published very, very shortly regarding this topic. Once again, please subscribe and then you will automatically receive notification when I publish new videos, including the second and third part of this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I really hope to see you in another of my videos, and please do check out some of my other videos in the channel. Goodbye for now.